What's up, everybody, and welcome to my garage where I have quite a few different bike items. And this evening I want to just share with you all some of the basics to biking so that you can love biking and enjoy biking and not get stressed out because your bike is all broken down in your garage or something. So I like to see you out riding a bike rather than just passing by it in the garage or the shop and feeling like, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my garage. This is the Anderson garage, and I've got a number of bikes, some of which you can't see. I've got my mountain bike here, my road bike, I'll be honest, two of my favorite possessions because I have so much enjoyment on them. Just today I went out for a mountain bike ride on some Forest Service roads and got to explore some places that I've never seen before, so I love it. The whole point of this video is to teach you some basics about biking. We're going to talk about some bike maintenance, how to ride a bike, and just all with the intent that you can enjoy biking in your life. So first, let's talk for a second about starting and stopping and proper seat height. I'm going to grab my mountain bike here, see if I can do that without knocking anything over. So proper seat height is super important for biking because it helps you get the power that you need. I use an analogy of trying to stomp a can up on top of a chair. That would not give you very much power. This is like if your seat is really low and your knees are way up high, you're not getting much power. But if you have that can or cup or whatever on the ground and you're stomping it, you get a lot more power. So you want your seat to be high enough that when your foot is at the bottom of the pedal stroke, you've got a slight bend in your knee. And I had to stand up off of my seat to do that. Well, why is my seat low? Because I have this cool little dropper seat post, and so this is actually where I usually ride it. I can't even sit on that. I actually have to start by placing my foot on the pedal and then stand up to get up onto it and go. And that's because I get more power that way. Now, why can my seat go like that? Because when I'm going fast downhill on a bunch of bumps, it's better to have a seat low like this. But this is kind of a fancy feature that more expensive mountain bikes have. So having that seat up high so there's only a slight bend in your knee is what you want. Now in here, you saw me just fall over a little bit. Well, let me show you how to start and stop without falling over. First of all, you want a wide stance. I'm going to turn this way. My feet are very wide right now. I'm going to put one foot on the pedal, and I have a wide stance, and my bike is slanted a little bit here so that I can easily stand over it. Now, I either give a push off like this and then go up on my seat and go, or I pull this pedal up to the top and then I stand on it, and while I'm doing that, I'm actually pushing it down and I'm moving forward because you have to be moving to get that balance, right? So I stand on it and I'm now moving forward, and then I'm able to get up onto my seat. You'll notice how high my seat is when I'm just standing here. It's hitting me in my very low back. Now, there are some reasons why you might want your seat lower, and that is maybe like a cruiser bike, just around town. It's more comfortable to get on and off. You're just kind of dinging down the block or something. For that reason, that's fine. You want to be more comfortable, do it. Another reason I already told you is descending, going downhill, a long downhill, but you don't have to have your seat low. It's just kind of an added luxury. The other one is BMX bikes for jumping. Because when you land, you won't hit your butt on your seat, or you'll be less likely to if your seat is low. So that's why BMX bikes have them real low. The last reason is just because people think they look really cool, all like reclined on their real low seat, and then their knees are like up here. I think they look dumb because they are working way more than I would need to going on that same hill they're on or whatever. And some of them literally have to get off and walk up hills because their seat's too low and they can't get any power. So starting and stopping, keep a wide stance. Start with a foot on the pedal. And when you come to a stop, so obviously you need to stand up as you're moving forward and then sit down. So when you come to a stop, stand up on your pedals, be on your feet here on your pedals, then come to a full stop, let your bike slant, and then put your foot down. Have a wide stance like this, so you're not gonna fall over. Starting and stopping are the same thing, opposite of each other. Okay, that's enough about seat height and starting and stopping. Next up here, we've got some safety stuff. So let me just make sure that this camera is indeed rolling. Good, yes, all right. Thought I might have been talking for no reason. Okay, so number one, safety. You need a helmet. Helmets are cool, they're not dumb. Mine actually looks a little dorkier than other helmets that I see out there. My wife's even told me, hey, you should buy a new helmet sometime because this one looks kind of dorky for whatever. I'm like, whatever, okay, maybe I'll spend $100 some other time for the cool looking kind. Not right now. I'm fine with this. But wear a helmet. It literally has saved lives. And biking, you need to be smart. It is a safe sport and an enjoyable sport, but you always need to be advocating for yourself, responsible for your own safety. Don't depend on the person in the car to see you. You need to see them. You need to be prepared. Otherwise, yeah, people that I personally have met have died from bike crashes, and it's a sad thing. So do everything you can to prevent it, including lights. All right, this right here is a little dinky little light. This is to go onto the front of a bike here. Turn it on, and it blinks like that, and that's so at night oncoming traffic can see you. Now, oncoming traffic in front of you, yeah, they can see you, but you should be able to see them too. So this is probably the least important of the lights that you could have. The most important would obviously be your tail light. You can't see the traffic coming up behind you oftentimes, and so this guy gets much brighter. See if I can blind you with that. And I ride with this on in daytime and nighttime with my road bike. Now my mountain bike, no, I don't need either of those lights because I'm just out on the single track, hopefully out on the mountains. Now if I was riding maybe through town or on some forest service roads that other people are on, yeah, I might. In fact, we encountered a truck on our bike ride today who was coming towards us, and he had to stop real quick, and so did we coming around a corner. So lights are always a good idea, but this is actually required by law after sundown, or maybe it's like 10 minutes after sundown. You have to have one of these so that you can be seen, not just a reflector. So this goes on the back of my road bike, a cool little add-on seat post right there, and there it is. Last of the lights is this guy right here, and I have another one that goes on my handlebars, but this is actually just a headlight, so I can ride my bike at night, and this is remarkably bright. And with two of them, man, I can go mountain biking in the pitch darkness. And some people think that this little attachment on my helmet is for a GoPro. I'm actually not that cool. I can't really do any awesome jumps or go super fast, and so you wouldn't really want to record the kind of biking that I do. It's actually not for a GoPro, it's for this light. So yeah, kind of nifty. So lights help you be safe, and they're kind of cool too. This guy can charge USB, so anyway. What else about safety? Responsibility is your own. Sun blinding, okay? You have to know, and I'm going to use this light for an example. If you're driving towards me and I'm riding this way, okay, you're coming up behind me and the sun is setting out in front of us, what does that do to your vision? Can you see me? Not really. Even if I have a blinky light going, you're not going to see me when you're blinded by the sun. Okay? And so as a biker, I am fully aware, and this is how one person I knew in Walla Walla died with a flag flying up above her bike and a bright orange vest, died because someone was driving into the sunset. She was riding that same way and they did not see her. So you better believe, when I'm out riding my bike and I notice that I'm riding into a low setting sun, I know that the people behind me can't see me. So I am either gonna not go on that road, I'm gonna go a different way home, which I have done before, or I'm gonna, for that little section, I'm gonna keep checking over my shoulder to see if anybody's coming, and I'm actually gonna pedal a lot faster to get off of that section of road quicker. Another thing that I personally do, I don't know if it's legal or not, is I ride on the other side of the road, only if I'm alone, not if I'm with someone else. If I'm alone, I might ride on the other side of the road against oncoming traffic, on the shoulder, of course, so that I can see whoever's coming. The sun is then illuminating me to them, and they will totally see me, and we can make a safe pass. They have to move over just as much on that side of the road for me as you would have to move over for me if I was on this side of the road. As long as I'm riding in the same place on the shoulder, you have to move over just as much, so I think it makes sense. Your safety is your own responsibility. Watch out for yourself and be smart. This is what I'm telling you about this sun blinding thing. It's a big deal. Obviously, pay attention to stop signs and traffic lights and all that jazz as well. Another thing, last thing with safety is with group riding. If you're riding in a group, which might come later on in life for some of you, or even, I guess, with your friends too, always point to where you're going. If you're going to make a turn this way, riding, and just say, hey, let's go left here, and point out where you're headed. Also, as you're riding, point out potholes or trash cans. Point things out that could be of harm to someone that's riding right behind you and isn't actually seeing those things. So some of those motions, if I'm riding, these are some group ride motions. This means train tracks. And so the people behind me know that, oh, we're about to hit some bumps here. So that's train tracks. This means, what was it? This means move over this way, because coming up on the left side is either a big, the shoulder of the road drops off, or there's a trash can, or there's a parked vehicle. Okay, people in group rides, yeah, they'll ride into parked vehicles sometimes because their people aren't communicating to stay over and whatnot. And then obviously to point things out as you go by. And if you see someone in front of you point something out, you should point that out as well. And the last thing, most importantly, is this. Show them that you're stopping. Otherwise, they might just run right into you, okay? You just put a hand down like that, stopping, or you say, slowing, slowing, loud enough so they can, and if you hear that from ahead, you repeat it so that they behind you know that as well. Slowing, slowing, slowing. Another thing that we do in group rides a lot is if a car comes to pass the group, okay, and we're all riding this direction, and you're riding behind me, you're probably going to encounter that car that's passing us sooner. You're going to know it's there before I do. And so as we're going along, this is a common thing you'll hear in a bike ride, and that is car back or truck back, meaning there's a car behind us, and we need to make sure to stay over so they can get around us. Or car back, don't make any sudden moves out there, there's car passing type thing. But car back, and if you yell that to me, I'm going to yell that again up to the people in front until it goes all the way to the front. Or you might hear the front people say car up. There's a car up the road. So car up, car up, car up, car up. So communicating all the while so that you don't run into problems, or so that you don't make your wife crash in front of a whole bunch of onlookers at an intersection, which I did once because I thought she was way behind, I was making a right turn. She was coming up on my right side. I thought she was farther back. I should have looked and I should have pointed where I was going. Instead, I just went and she ran right into me and went down. And yeah, that was not good. So, safety. Safety's good stuff. Pass on the left, I have that on here. When you're passing bikers, because cars pass on the left of bikers usually, bikers will pass other bikers on the left. It's kind of breaking an unwritten rule to pass them on the right. That's not good for whatever reason. So anyway, let's talk about maintenance a little bit. And again, I'm going to make sure my phone has some battery life left. All right, still going strong. Maintenance. Changing a flat tire. Check this out. Here's a great way to when you're on the roadside or even in your garage. Great way to set your bike up so you can work with it. I'll show you right here. I like to grab the fork, front fork, and the down tube right here. And I'm going to flip it upside down, and I'm going to set it on its seat and on the handlebars. Now, for the purpose of this illustration, I'm actually going to turn it around this way. Seat, handlebars. And now, I can kind of work with it a little bit. Okay? So, first thing with changing a flat tire. Let's pretend that our front tire is flat. Okay? Obviously, we need to remove the tire, which I'm going to do real quickly here and show you something. Now, your brakes, usually there's a way to loosen your brakes so that you can actually get your tire out. And that, yeah, I don't have a bike here that I could show that to you with the typical V-brakes, but with these road brakes, there's a little lever to loosen it with. So just a word here about how this quick release thing works. You see this lever here? This is also the same type of thing you'll see on your seat post to adjust your seat up and down, unless you actually have to get an Allen wrench or even a crescent wrench because there's a nut on there. But most seat posts nowadays have these, and they're really nice. This lever right now is all the way clamped. Okay, this is a clamp from this side all the way to this side. It's a clamp, and it is all the way clamped. Now, when I open it, I don't know if you can see that, but this thing actually moves out a little bit. When I open it like that, it is unclamped. Now this clamp is adjustable. So it can be like here unclamped and then there clamped. Or it can be like here unclamped and there clamped. And the way you adjust that is it's like a nut and a bolt. This is the bolt going through and here's the nut on the other side. So I'm actually going to tighten this right here. And now when I clamp it closed, it's even a tighter clamp. Okay, and right now I don't feel any resistance. I'm just doing this for the sake of this illustration. I don't need to clamp it onto anything, but if I tighten it some more and then clamp, I might actually feel, ooh, a little resistance there, and then clamp it closed. That's a nice tight clamp onto the fork, if it's the front wheel, or onto your seat post to make sure your seat won't move or go down on you. Anyway, that's how, this is called a skewer. That's how skewers and those seat clamps work. Open, clamped, closed, and you can adjust it, loosen it, or tighten it. So anyway, we're changing the flat tire, right? You get a flat, and you need one of these. You need to carry this with you. And in fact, I always carry a number of things, but among them is a tire lever. That's what this is called, tire lever. You need to know that, and most everybody carries two with them. You might see why in a second. And then I've also got some patches here, and most patch kits come with a little like sandpaper or a little one of these guys to kind of rough up the tube. And then also a little bit of glue, which I realize I don't have in here. I don't have any glue in here, perhaps because I've got some other patches that these ones don't require any glue. So anyway, I've also got some duct tape. I might tell you why in a second. But so basics of how to change a flat tire. You let all of the air out. Okay. if there is any air left, right? But if it's already flat, you don't have to do this. But let the rest of the air out. Okay, and that should loosen up your tire a bit so that you can get this lever down in between the tire and the rim. Okay, and I still got some more air in here. So, and your lever has a little kind of scoopy end to it where you can get beneath it and you can scoop it, you can pry the tire out. And once you get it out, you can move it around the tire to get all of the tire, one side of the tire, out from the rim. And I have another one here to show you what that looks like. So I got this underneath, I pried it out, kind of used my thumb to hold that there, and then I moved it. It kind of takes it's kind of hard right at first, but I moved it all the way around the tire to get it all the way out. That gives me access then to the inside. Now this one doesn't have a tube in it right now, but yours would. So then you can pull your tube out all the way around until till the valve is poking through the hole right here, and then you can pull this over and you can pull your tube out. Once you get your tube out, your tire's flat because your tube got punctured, right? So you've got your tube out now, and it's flat. How do you find where the hole is? Look, this one, come around here. This one I fixed. It has a patch on it right here. So the way you find the hole is to actually pump it up, and I'm just gonna give a little breath here. Okay, so you're gonna pump it up, but you need to pump it up more than this. Take it to the kitchen sink or the bathroom sink or whatever, or a little bucket of water, and run each section under the water until you see bubbles coming out. When you see the bubbles coming out, find the hole where it's coming out from. You can usually keep your eye on right where it is. I get a pen, ballpoint pen. I kind of dry that spot off. I mark an X over that hole. Okay? Once you do that, you can let the air out so it's flat like this again. You can take your rougher-upper thing, you can rough that spot up a little bit. You just agitate it so that the glue will stick over your hole there. You take some rubber cement, or at this point you can just put your no glue patch on and hold it on there for a while. Or you take your rubber cement, put some rubber cement on there, enough, plenty to make sure that your whole patch, all the edges will have rubber cement on it. Let that rubber cement actually dry for about a minute, then put that patch on. Hold that patch for a few minutes. If you're out on the road, hold it for 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then put this back into your tire, put it all back together and pump it up and see if you can go. If you're at home, I usually just set it down on a table somewhere, something heavy on top of it so it's nice and flat, and leave it there for a while. So here's what you do though when you put it back in. This is a mistake, and I'll just check once more for my battery life here. All right. I'm also checking for your lives. I know you guys have a life, and I'm already at 23 minutes, so I'll try to go as quick as I can. But there's a lot, man. I learned these tricks over years. So if you just learn it right now real quick, you might thank me later. All right. So when you put it back in, there is something that punctured, most often something that punctured your tire to make that flat. So a lot of people forget to run their fingers through the inside of this tire like this to see if they feel that thorn, to pull it out or something. And that's why I have duct tape. If I get like a big nail, I actually put a piece of duct tape on the inside where I know that nail or that thorn was through, so that other dust and little grit can't work through there and cause some friction there and give me another flat later. Make sure you pull out the culprit, the root of the problem. Then you do what I did out on the road, if you can. I have a special, this is called a Presta valve. Most of your bikes will be Schrader valves with the little, pokey thing up through the middle. This is a little different, so I like to give a puff of air. You can give yours a puff of air with a pump, just a little bit, so it takes its shape, and you can put it back in all the way around. Put, obviously, your valve through the hole, put it all the way in, all the way around, and then you use your tire lever again to get this back in. Actually, it should be easy at first. And then here's a trick. You now have to re-put this tire all the way around the rim. Okay, so I'm going to hold this side while I'm pushing it in on this side all the way around, working all the way around. And usually by this time, if I got a tire in there, it's getting hard to get that tire in. So I literally hold it like this in front of me. I work this thumb up a little bit, this one up a little bit. I'm pushing the tire over, I'm rolling it kind of over, and I'm just working with my thumbs hard. It gets harder, and right about here, it's the hardest. But I just keep working at it, roll it over until it pops on there. Okay? Now pump it up, and just a word about pumping it up. You can use these cool things. This is a CO2 cartridge. It comes with this attachment. I screw that in there, and then I'm able to actually press that on, unscrew this, and then it just fills it right up. And it already has the set amount that I need of air. So this is a really quick way to pump it up on the road and just keep going. And I can carry this in my little saddlebag, which you can't see down there, or I can carry this in my back pocket, my jersey pocket. So that's CO2. Some people carry little pumps with them in their camelback or on their bike. This takes forever. This one's exceptionally small. There's bigger ones, but when you use an actual pump, just make sure you know that this is unlocked right now. You push it onto the valve, you lock it onto the valve, then you do your pumping up. Your tire should tell you what pressure to do it to. And if you get this pump was like 16 bucks at Walmart or something. It's really cheap, but it still tells you the pressure. So anyway, when you push this on to the valve, sometimes if your tire is flat at this point, that's why you're pumping it up, that valve, and pretend this is a valve, will actually push back into your rim. It'll push into your tire because you're pushing on it. So use your other hand to push the tire behind the valve so the valve stays out and you can push that on there and clamp it on and then pump it up. Alright, that's how to change and fix a flat tire. And yeah, at this point, let me show you how to clean a chain real quick. This is the basic bike maintenance. Keep your tires inflated, all right? Because then you'll ride your bike more. But the next basic bike maintenance thing is to clean your chain once in a while. You get some degreaser. This is just Walmart something, Orange Blast. I spray some onto this rag. I can pedal this. I can hold this rag onto the chain and then just run the chain through it. Okay, I can squeeze the sides of the chain, or I can squeeze the top and bottom as I run this through. I could throw a little more degreaser on my rag as I'm doing this. But that cleans that chain off. Look at that. It's always going to look like that, but I do this. Some people do it after every ride. I've heard you're supposed to do it after every couple rides. I do it about every 5 to 10 rides. So once you clean it off like that, you've got to take some lube, which you can get at a bike shop or probably Walmart too, and then just put a little lube on there while you're spinning it. I should do this back here. Okay, a little lube on there. Alright. And then take a dry spot of your rag, clean spot, and just wipe off the excess lube. Okay, that actually, that will keep your chain a little more dry and it won't collect as much dust. You don't want too much lube on your chain, just enough to get in there and keep it working well. So that's that. The basic idea, we're done with the maintenance part except for this. Water is a bike's enemy. You don't really want to be riding a bike in the rain. You don't want to be like purposely splashing through puddles. You don't want to leave your bike outside in the weather and whatnot. Water is a bike's enemy because water will get into the crooks and crannies of the bike and the bearings, which are everywhere in your bike, bearings in your wheels to make them spin, bearings in your bottom bracket where you can pedal your cranks, right? There's bearings all over of your, in these little flywheel things. Water, when it gets in those bearings and whatnot, that's how grit gets in there. So grit travels through water and is able to get in those spots, and then it can really mess up your bike. So try to stay out of water if you can. Now you'll see some places where you clean your bike with water. I've heard some people say, don't even clean your bike with water. Just get a rag, a dry rag, and try to clean it up that way. Maybe get the rag just a little damp if you want, but especially if you're going to clean with water like a hose, which I've done before. My bike's been covered in mud before. Don't do pressure into the bearings, like the bottom bracket, the rear derailleur, or into the wheel bearings. Don't do a lot of pressure right there because water is not good. So remember that with your maintenance, and hopefully you'll have to do a little less maintenance and not have to take it in for a tune-up as much. All right, little break here for my own voice. 31 minutes. Oh my goodness. See, this is why I couldn't tell this all to you in class. This is why I'm doing this here in my garage. So, cadence and pedal stroke. We should be flying through the rest of these now. So, cadence is how fast you spin. Most of us spin about this fast right now, and we should be spinning about this fast. Not this, but this. 90 revolutions per minute, in the 90s range actually. And then I talked to a friend of mine who's almost a pro. He's up there at Cat 1 or whatever, semi-pro. He actually spins at 115 revolutions per minute, because the more you spin, the more recovery your leg gets from each revolution. So the muscles I use to push down here, as I'm coming up here, I'm not using those muscles, I'm using different muscles. And so your muscles are constantly getting a break with each spin, rather than like a big hard push and then a break and then a hard push. So anyway, higher cadence is better. Chris Froome won the Tour de France. When he attacks the group, he goes into high cadence mode to do it. So anyway, you'll go a lot farther with less energy if you can get used to spinning a little quicker. But always